Hello everyone, Drew Wilson of Your Era Gamer here, and today I got another Minecraft update. You may not be familiar with this location. I only visited it more recently, but this is one of the villages that I have kind of near between the mountain mine and the beach. And you'll see I got a lot of train tracks here, and one of the things I needed, and I'll explain on the way, because I'm getting attacked right now, is that I have needed to build a village. And what you see here is the result of basically an entire weekend. I built a whole bunch of like rail tracks along there so I could just push some villagers into a minecart, and I had to do this one at a time because I had to follow to make sure that the villagers were going to be fine on the way through here. And the only way to build a village if you want it populated is, as it turns out, to kidnap them and forcibly confine them into a village. And I didn't want it to be just like a standard prison type of deal, that sort of thing. I just wanted to be really focused on what can I do to make a really cool village. And yeah, trying to get these villagers was quite the pain. I tried to use a boat, but once I got to the edge of the water, I didn't really know how to pull the villagers up past the water level. And I was left back to square one trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do to fix this? And this is how this came about. I have a giant cow in my way, unfortunately. And this is why I needed to make sure that there's no obstructions, because it was very hastily put together. Admittedly. Because it was such a large project that I just wanted to get this thing done. I tried a few theories, because there's two villagers in here, to see if I could just naturally attract them over to my giant village. And I tried emeralds. I heard, and this is why Google overview is terrible. It recommended that I use a giant emerald block, and of course that doesn't work naturally. So I realized I had this giant space kind of above there, and I started, building. You can kind of see the castle I built. I'll go over all this in more detail. So I started building and building, and it took quite a while. I got the mountain mine down to about a layer of 181 from 254, I believe it was. I had a giant space, and I thought, you know what? I might as well use that space for something useful, and I heard you can do trades with villagers as long as you have the right job blocks. And there's, gosh, at least a dozen of them? Probably more. So I kidnapped all the villagers, sent them on this rail system, and I created Emerald City. And I risked my life several times in this game trying to build that sign. What I did was I actually used, and I'll explain that farm in a bit, I used dirt to kind of create a stencil, because I needed to build the wall and I didn't have the lights at the time. And after that, I started putting this thing in here. So anyway, I had to end it here. But I'll take that. What this used to go around here, this rail system, and it would drop off. And I made sure that there was at least a 1 block drop off. And it went along the bottom of this, and it went all the way across around here. And I had to remove some of this stuff because I had to build other things, and I already had the civilians. And it ended here, and basically that's how I managed to get a bunch of villagers. So anyway, nice breakdancing move. I gotta remove those tracks too. It took a bit to kind of replace all the dirt with all the redstone lights, and I used redstone blocks just to power it all. The original plan was to have this a giant blinking light, and unfortunately there's only so much range that these have, so I had to settle for a solid one instead. But anyway, let's go on a tour of the giant city that I have built after I take a quick snack. This is the first building I built, and every house has 4 beds. I originally had this in mind, like a center stairwell, so I can go up and showcase other beds. And then I have built a balcony. You can hang out on the balcony if you wanted. And of course you have a roof. And I made sure that no matter what, I don't know how those villagers are in terms of personal safety, but I didn't want to leave anything to chance. So I totally sealed off the village and created all those railings as well to make it sure they weren't going to somehow injure themselves. So yeah, I decided to make a giant ring. This is the armor, and I'll showcase the inside because this is the ultimate design I end up with. I should have moved that. In buildings that have an ability to go downstairs, I create a basement. I push the stairwell to the side, put the beds on the side there, and I had an extra bed. I was experimenting with something, I never removed it. And yeah, you have the standard balcony. That is a chimney. Each house has its own heating system. Not that it's needed, technically speaking, but it was there because I thought, you know, it goes with the aesthetic. Yeah, and every house has a back door, and I made sure everything is nicely lit. So I started thinking about different professions, and I started separating them out. So I have the armorer, and each house has 4 beds for the same job blocks, save for one, I'll mention it in a minute. I have the Fletcher. I have the toolmaker. I have the fisherman. I have the leather maker, and for some reason no one took up the leather making position. I have no idea why. I'll have to figure out why at some point. Stonemason. I have a cartographer and cleric, and for the longest time, yeah, that's not a cleric. No one was taking up this one either, which was kind of frustrating because I had to take those. There's only 3 because I don't have access to, I believe it's Blaze. So yeah, librarian. Took the longest time before someone finally took up this position. There's only 1, unfortunately. I have the shepherd. I don't think anyone ever took up that position either. Butcher. That's completely full. I have the farmer and the weaponsmith. So every single profession that is available. And I thought I'd develop a work from home ethic as well. Like I have the job blocks as well as the beds, and I have all the food they need. Well, the AI had different plans, and they decided to have everyone sleep in different areas, so I was like, whatever. Anyway, I built this farm area. This was originally just beetroot. Portion of this was just wheat, and I put potatoes and carrots on the back here, and it's just whatever they reached, and I think beetroot and wheat is what they just ended up planting for the most part. And I have watermelons and pumpkins. I have a farm area, so I have chickens. This was originally a pig pen, and this was originally for the cows, and unfortunately villagers have a habit of opening these doors and leaving them open, and of course I have the sheep. So that's my general design, and I just promptly screwed that up. Oh well, I'll fix that later. So one of the things I built was Dragon Tower. I put a tower in the middle because I thought it would be cool to have like a giant tower. And I just started building upwards. I used iron grates to create windows because I thought it kind of went with the aesthetic. Someone visited up here at some point. And this tower just keeps going up and up. And it wasn't just inside. In fact, before I do, it's a little vertigo inducing, I'll admit. But if I look straight up, oh, it's clouded. You can see how high it goes, just barely. There's a tiny little square at the top. Anyway, it took me a while to build this up. I had a whole bunch of extra cobblestone. The cobblestone itself wasn't a problem. The lights, however, and the iron grates was a bit of a different matter. So it took me a bit to kind of farm the materials for that. But not only do I have the stairwell on the inside, but I also have the stairwell on the outside as well. So if I needed to go on the outside, I can most certainly do that. So you can see how big the village is, rather the city. And I had to shave off that mine as well, or that mountain, just to make room. Whoa. So yeah, I decided to see just how high I could build. And I didn't know if there was a restriction or not. I put a sign here just to indicate the original height of the mountain. So that is the absolute highest point in the mountain. And of course, I kept building upwards. It's so weird seeing rain and not hearing rain sounds. And of course, this tower just keeps going up and up. And the total is 44 floors. And it really felt precarious building this too, because I was looking down. Like, I built the original core, so basically the square that makes up the outside wall. And looking down after a while made my hands sweat again. Hadn't experienced that. And this armadillo is the pet armadillo of the area, just randomly gotten. And it turns out 139 is the height limit. So yeah, that's how high I ended up going. And of course I built an outside area so you can have the observation section. Yeah, this took a while to build. But that's what I built. Just for funsies more than anything else, because I wanted to see how high I could build. And from the outside, this does look a bit like a giant skyscraper. And I thought how cool it would be if this was also a giant like building that housed people and stuff like that, but I kept things more modest and just made it so that you can just walk around. Yeah, and the only downside is that it takes a while to go up and down these stairs. Now, if you can imagine just running up and down these stairs, imagine building and going up and down the stairs when you have to regather the resources over and over and over again. So that's partly why this was so time consuming. I think I spent a week building this. I think. And the only reason it was a week was because I also had other projects I was building at the same time, and I thought, well, I can take a break every once in a while and build something else and then come back to this. And I built other things to, like, for instance, I just built the inner stairwell and then I built something else. And I came back and built the outer stairwell and built something else. Then I built the lighting that was replaced all the torches. Then I built something else, and I built the iron grates, and I built something else. But yeah, that is Dragon Tower. It's a really tall tower. I do have other things I want to showcase, but it seems like I ran out of time, so I will talk about the rest of the city in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, what is your era?